So today I'm going to show you how I make my homemade applesauce. It's really, really simple. You just basically need a couple things. You need apples, you need a pot, a large pot to cook them in. You're going to need also one of these mason jars for your applesauce to be able to put it in here once it's ready to go and keep it in the refrigerator for further use. And today I'm using a combination of Gala and Macintosh apples. These are really sweet. I don't add any sugar to my applesauce. I prefer just the sweetness of the apple, and it's better for you. So I don't add any sugar. And the key to that is you want to use your apples. You want to use apples like these that are very sweet. So you wouldn't use like the Granny Smith ones. Those are a little tart. Unless you want your applesauce to be a little tart, you can use that, or you can use a combination of those if you have them, and some of these Gala apples or Macintosh, like I said, these are just sweeter. And what I've done here is these are the size that I'm using. These are medium. This is medium size apples. So I have about 6 of them. If you have smaller ones, then you're going to want to use maybe 2 or 3 more. If your apples are very big, then you probably only need to use around 4. So, you know, it depends. It doesn't really, there's really not going to be a difference in the taste. It's just going to be less quantity of applesauce when you're done if you have less apples. But, you know, the idea is to make a good amount so that you have enough, since you're going through the trouble of making your applesauce at home. So you want to have it. So, you know, a mason jar like this one works really well to keep it in and keep it in the fridge for a few weeks, okay? So what I've done already here is I have cut the apples in half, okay? I've cut them in half and then I've quartered them. And as you can see, of course, you're gonna have, like you already know, the core, or some of the core, and the seeds inside. So I've removed that, okay? So you wanna remove that, and then it'll look like this. You don't wanna take too much of the inside off. You don't wanna take, you know, a lot of the goodness of the apple, but just, you know, use a small knife. It works better to just take this part off. And then what I did is from here, I just cut them into cubes like these right here. They don't have to be, you know, a specific size. I just did, you know, just medium-sized cubes. It's just gonna take less time for it to cook. Once you have done that, then you're gonna put your pot on the stove and just put it on medium-high heat. And you want to stir it occasionally as when you start seeing the apples break down a little bit. This is going to take maybe about 30 minutes. And you don't want to just leave it on the stove. You want to occasionally, you're going to want to go in there and stir it just to make sure nothing's sticking. If you see that, you know, that they may be sticking a little bit, then just bring your temperature of your stove down a little bit, okay? But again, it's going to take about 25 to 30 minutes depending on how many apples you have to make the applesauce. I don't add, again, any sugar to the apples. If you want a little bit of acidity on your sweet apples, then you can do maybe a teaspoon or 2 of lemon juice. That's up to you. I don't. I just cook them straight out like this. And it's going to take about 25 minutes. Once they're done, once they've cooked down, then we're going to go ahead and put them in like a little food processor. I have like a little small chopper, put them in there, and that'll, you know, that'll be your applesauce. And as you can tell, I have left the peel on the apples. I have not peeled the apples. I just don't like to waste, and I think, you know, there's a lot of nutrients and a lot of fiber on the peel, so I don't want to waste it. I really want that in my applesauce. It's not going to hurt. It's just going to be better for you. So I left the peel on, so even easier than that. So I'm going to go ahead and put my pot on the stove and start cooking it, and I'll show you what it looks like as they break down, or when they start breaking down, and we'll take it from there. So I just wanted to show you my apples are on the stove top. As you can see, the applesauce is getting started, and I did want to mention I added about a 1/4 cup of water just to get them started, okay? They are going to, of course, you know, break down, release their own juices and everything. But I just wanted to get them started a little bit, and this will help the apples not stick to the bottom of the pot as they're cooking down. So I just, you know, just toss them a little bit And at this point, since your heat is going to be on medium, or you can even bring it down a little bit lower. Mine's just like medium low. Then you can just cover it, okay? I'm going to go ahead and cover my pot and just let it cook down. I would come back every 15 minutes, every 10 minutes maybe, 10, 12 minutes, depending on how low you have your heat. And I would just go ahead and open the pot, stir it up, and just make sure nothing's sticking until they break down all the way. And then I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so let me show you what my apples look like after they have cooked down. You see, this took about 35 minutes on that medium to low on the stove top. So you can see this is the consistency they're gonna be. They're still a little chunky, but they're still not 100% mushed, okay? And as you can see, it has turned like a really beautiful pink color because we left the peels on. So what I'm doing right now is I have my little food chopper or little tiny processor, and I'm putting my apples in there that were cooked so that we can go ahead and process them and then put them in the mason jar. And it smells really good. I mean, it started smelling really nice as soon as they started cooking down. And if all of it doesn't fit, we can always, if you have more than what I have, you can always do it in batches, okay? Process these in batches. And another thing I forgot to mention is if you guys wanted to have like a flavored applesauce, like, they sell like cinnamon flavored applesauce. If you like that, you can do that, to make it a little different. Or if you want to make two batches, one, just regular plain applesauce and the other one flavored, you can do that as well. And really all you want to do is you would add a cinnamon stick. They sell them just like, in the spice, where they have the spices, they sell them in that area. And you can just go ahead and put 1 or 2 cinnamon sticks in the apples while they're cooking, depending on how strong you like your cinnamon taste. Okay, so that's just an idea to make them a little different if you wanted to try that. Okay, so that kind of pretty much has filled up my food processor here. So let's just go ahead and put the top on. And give it a whirl. Take a look at it. It depends how chunky you like it, or how less chunky you like it. And what I do is I just kind of scrape it down a little bit. And let's give it another whirl. Okay, look at it now. It's still a little chunky, but this is how I like it. If you like it more liquidy, you can always just, just keep the food processor going. And if you have a food processor, this is like a little mini chopper, it's called. On the food processor, you may be able to you're probably going to get a smoother consistency if you like it, if you don't like it that chunky. But see, I like mine's this way, where you can still kind of see the chunks. And you can see it's turned a beautiful, kind of like a pink color. So it's not that pale looking applesauce. which is, which is still delicious, but you're not getting, all the benefits of the peel of the apple and all the fiber, and it just, I think it tastes so much better. So at this point, all you really would do is just put it in your mason jar, or if you don't have a mason jar like this one, if you have just any airtight container that you have, okay, it could be plastic. I like, I like for it to be a jar. But if you don't have one and you don't want to invest in getting one, just use an airtight container and keep it in the fridge. Now, mine's is still warm, fairly warm, so once I put it in my mason jar, I'm going to let it cool down a little bit before I put it in the fridge. So that's it. That's how you make your own applesauce. I hope you guys try it and enjoy.